What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another banger video. As usual, my name is James with Topclasss Detail, and today I have one of the most important videos that I'll make to date. And the reason being is because everybody wants to start a detailing business. Everyone wants to go mobile, start from their house, or start somewhere. And the biggest issue is they don't know what to start with. Do I need a pressure washer? Which one do I get? What vacuum cleaner? What is it that I get for what it is I'm trying to get done? And that's what I'm going to share with you guys today. So stay tuned to the end of the video. I'm going to drop some knowledge on some pressure washers, some vacuums, as well as some of the machinery that you guys may or may not need depending on how you're trying to go. Keep in mind, this is for those that want to go fully mobile, not using anything from the client. So if you're trying to do something else where you want to use the client's power or the client's water, drop that down below and we'll make a separate video just for you. Okay, so we made it to the outside of H2O. This is the perfect place for me to show you guys the different kind of pressure washers they have available. The reason I say this is great because we have multiple trailers going from gas to electric to Kranzels to ARs. So that's going to be a very great way to showcase you guys what the benefits are and what'd be better for you. There's many pressure washers out there. You guys have a lot of options, and a lot of you may think your first step would be to go to Home Depot and pick up one of those, or maybe Costco or Sam's Club. And yes, those are great, but I'm going to let you know the difference between those consumer grade pressure washers over these industrial professional grade pressure washers. So one of the biggest and main differences from these pressure washers to what you're buying at Home Depot is this pump right here. So if you look, this is actually a Comet pump. Comet, AR, Viper, those are the top brands in the game when it comes to mobile detailing, and more so I'd say even just pulling water from a water tank. So that's what we're doing. When you're in the mobile life and you're going to be carrying a tank, which we'll get to later on in the video, you need something that's going to pull the water. Unlike your garden hose, which is perfect for this Home Depot pressure washers because your house will push out 12 to 20 gallons of water with that water hose. Whereas mobile, you don't have that benefit. So that's where these pumps come into play. This is going to be majority of your plumbing that's going to pull your water directly from your tank, whether you're running a 25 gallon or a 600 gallon tank. That's going to be the biggest benefit and what it is that you need to get the job done. Those other pressure washers, those are meant for something to be pushing water already, quote unquote your garden hose, whereas these are meant to pull. So that's going to be one of the biggest factor, as well as these engines. This right here is a Honda GX200. This is the exact setup that I got when I first started. It cost me roughly about $1,200. That's going to include the pressure washer with the hose and about a 50-foot reel. And that's what I paid about 2-3 years ago to just get started. And when I tell you it was the best thing I've ever done, it was amazing. Because prior to that, I had spent probably close to $2,000 on Ryobi pressure washers, on different ones from Costco, different ones from Sam's Club. But the issue wasn't the pressure washer, it was the pump. So that's why I stress to you guys, make sure you get one with a good pump. Comet brand, AR, or Viper are going to be your best friends, and those are going to do you well. All right, so stepping away from the gas pressure washers and those loud engines, we're going to now move into what I transitioned into, the electric pressure washer stage. Now, we're not going to start with those Ryobis and those cheap pressure washers. They're great, but we're running a business. We need something that's going to be efficient, that's going to last and be quality, just like what we're trying to put out ourselves. That's where we jump into the AR Blue and the Kranzel pressure washers. Just like I spoke about the pumps with the Comet brand, the AR and the Viper, AR actually came out with their own pressure washer called the AR Blue. This is actually a pretty popular one. It's what I would say is comparable to the Kranzel. So if you're not trying to be someone who is having a Kranzel like everyone else, or you want to try something different, this right here is going to be a great buy. This is going to be their neck-to-neck competitor. And the benefit with these is these come with total stop features. So with that being said, the gas one is always going to be constantly running, making noise, whether you're using it or not. With this one, it's only going to make noise like the Kranzel when it comes time to spray the gun. When you're spraying the gun, you're going to hear it, and then once you're done, it's going to shut off. I love that factor of it because, one, this isn't completely going and burning out the motor or the pump on itself. It's only doing it when it's needed, which is going to be very beneficial for the long run of this machine, but as well as the fact that it's quiet. It's just super quiet. Your generator is almost going to be louder than the actual pressure washer when it comes time to use it. So if you work in a higher end city, or you just have people who complain about noise, and maybe the gas pressure washer isn't the best option for you and you want to know what else is still going to get the job done, These AR blues and these Kranzels are amazing. Don't stress about the pressure. Everyone wants to work with 3,500 watts, or everyone wants to have a 3,500 psi pressure washer. It's not needed. I have 12 to 1400 psi. That does the job perfectly day in and day out. I've had it for a few months and I have no issues with it. So this would be your second option if you want to go outside of the gas and jump into an electric pressure washer. Highly recommend these ARs. They're nothing but quality. All right, so we just covered the basics, which would be your pressure washer. That's going to be the most important thing to run your business and get things going. But now that you have your pressure washer, what do you do with the water situation? Are we using client's water or are we bringing our own? As I mentioned earlier, this is a fully mobile setup, which means we're not depending on anything from the client. We want to offer everything ourselves. So right behind me, we have multiple sizes of water tanks. Now, a lot of you guys may be thinking, when it comes to a water tank, what am I looking into? Am I looking for the size? Am I looking for the way it's shaped? What is it that I need to know? And that's what I'm here to inform you about. So when it comes to water tanks, there's a few things you want to keep in mind. One, how many cars are you doing per day? That's going to depend on whether you want to go with a 25-gallon tank or close to a 100-gallon tank. The second thing is, what is pulling this water tank? Are you using a van? Are you using a truck? Or are you using your car? Each vehicle has its own payload, which means as much weight as it can carry for that transmission and for the vehicle to be safe. So make sure you guys keep that in mind. When it comes to water, every gallon is roughly about 8 pounds. So if you went with a 100-gallon tank, you're looking at about roughly 800 pounds of water in that vehicle outside of your pressure washer and everything else. So if you look over here, these are what we consider low profile tanks. These are for those who are in a truck bed or something small. They need it to be more so longer and wider, but shorter than taller. These are going to be a perfect option. And then you see over here, we have your standard 100-gallon tank. This one was already been previously used, so you can see just how beat up it is and the work it got with it. But that just shows you the different sizes that we have available. So with that 100-gallon tank, that will get you through roughly a minimum of 4 to 5 cars, I'd say. And that's from my experience. I run 2 to 3 buckets, so I'm using about 30 gallons of water just in the buckets. That's being extra though. I'd say roughly about 20. And then when you take into account washing the vehicle, I'm using maybe about 30 to 35 gallons of water to wash one car. Now, depending on the size of the vehicle and your pressure washer, that's where those come into play. If you have a gas pressure washer, you're definitely going to run through a lot more water because it has a higher GPM. That stands for gallons per minute and how much water you'll be wasting every time you're holding down that trigger. So keep in mind those two factors. If you run a electric pressure washer like I do, you're definitely going to save yourself a lot more water, be able to get more cars out of it. But from personal experience, I would stress doing at least a 65-gallon tank. I started off with a 65. It got me through, let's say, 2 to 1 vehicle per day. And then from there, I'd go ahead and have to refill it up and just do that. So that would be the only hassle. It's going with a smaller tank. You have more refills, but going with a bigger one is obviously going to last you a lot longer. So pick and choose what's more beneficial to you. Keep in mind the weight of what your vehicle can hold and how you're going to be towing it, but as well as how big you need it to be, the size and the amount of water you want it to hold. So now that we already covered the 2 pressure washers from gas to electric, as well as the different kinds of water tanks as far as low profile, the standard sizes, and the different gallons to them, we're moving over here to this. This is what I call a simplistic, a beginner setup. This is perfect for someone who's just looking to start off. You have a nice gas pressure washer, you have a 1400 watt inverter, and about a 25-gallon tank. So with that, we're going to jump into the different kinds of generators and what's more beneficial for you. Everyone wants to know, how many watts do I need? Which brand do I go with? Is Harbor Freight good? Is Honda better? And that's what I'm going to help you with. So if you're looking to run a gas pressure washer, then you don't necessarily have to worry about the generator as much as I do. So with that being said, if you're going to run gas, you could start off with something like this. That's perfectly fine. All you really needed to do is power your vacuum, maybe an air compressor if you have one, and any little electrical items that you may need. Now, like I said, if you're going to run a gas pressure washer, that's perfect. But now if you're going to run electrical, that's where you jump into something like this. So personally, I started off after jumping from the small Predator to the bigger one, and I purchased this 3500 watt from Harbor Freight. They're roughly around $800+, and you can add a warranty to those. But this is going to be a mandatory item you need to have if you plan on running an electric pressure washer. If you look at this setup right here, you don't see that same small generator that you see on the other one, because that wouldn't be enough power to power this by itself. So when it comes to picking a generator, ask yourself, what are you going to be running off of it? Are you going to be running an air compressor, a vacuum, a steamer, and all those different things? Then you might need to get a bigger one. So for example, my steamer runs at 1500 watts by itself. That one over there runs at 1100. It starts at 14, but it runs at 11. So keep in mind, there's running wattage and there's a starting watt. My steamer would be too much power for that one. Therefore, it'd be a better bargain for me to get this bigger one so I can run my steamer, run my vacuum, and run everything else. And from personal experience, these bigger ones are great, especially when working with an employee, because it allows me to use the air compressor and the blower, or I can use the pressure washer and the vacuum. You can mix and match depending on the voltage. But when it comes to generators, keep in mind, what are you going to be plugging into it? And are you running gas or electric? But if you guys are confused by it all, as usual, reach out to H2O. They're the ones who supply all these setups. They make them in-house. They're done. Everything's done completely here. So they'll be more than willing to help you out as far as getting you set up with either a 3500 watt or something like this 3800, or even something as small as that 1400 watt generator over here that you see in our beginner setup. So we already covered the pressure washer, the water tank, and the generator. Now let's jump into the next item. All right. So as I mentioned, we already covered the three basics from your pressure washer, your water tank, and your generator. Now, how are you going to vacuum the inside? This right here is going to be probably hands down one of the most popular vacuums when it comes to the detailing game. This is what everyone starts with. This is going to be the Rigid 5-gallon vacuum, I believe. I'm sorry, 4-gallon, 5 horsepower vacuum. They have a newer one that actually comes with a blower on top if you want to also add a blower to your vacuum instead of having two separate things. Since we are doing a starting out build, it will save you a little bit less money, but just want to throw that out there. So this one right here is going to cost you roughly about $80 to $100 depending on what the market is at the time. And this one I did purchase myself, but I bought it later on. I wish I would have bought it earlier. The reason being is because I got caught up in the horsepower. I wanted something that was going to do majority of the work and not have to worry about bringing out all these extra tools and different things like that. So I actually started off with the 14-gallon, the 6 horsepower. Now, if you're familiar with that, that is a huge vacuum. We have one of those up there on the wall right there. And that thing is humongous. So especially with the space that I had at that time being, it was not efficient for me. It was a hassle to bring out, and it was overall just a bummer to use. Now, when you first buy these, they actually come with just the standard tools and the standard hose. Now with that, you have two different options, and I highly recommend you guys go this route. You have Rigid's own detailer accessory kit, or you can purchase one of these kits, which I like a bit better. The reason I like these a bit better, the hose is a lot thicker than what the original one comes with, as well as the upgraded kit. The upgraded one is a lot smaller, therefore if you sucked up a mask, or let's say something that was too big, it would eventually clog it. So this right here is perfect. This one is going to be about 15 feet, and this is going to be more than enough to have. The standard ones are very, very short, and you're constantly having to move around the vacuum, and if you don't have an extension cord and you're plugging it directly from the generator, then that's going to be an issue because of the fact that you only have so much cord to work with. So that's where these come into play. It also has accessories inside, so you have the bigger wand as well as the shorter, skinnier one. This is going to be great for cracks and crevices and getting in between seats, and this one will be great for doing majority of the bulk vacuuming. Personally, I stick to the other one. I don't really use the big one, but that's going to be great for you guys if you're looking to pick up a vacuum. I highly recommend this 4-gallon 5 horsepower Rigid one, as well as a mandatory kit to pick up, because the hoses that come in here are tiny, they're small, the tools suck. I'd highly suggest you picking up one of these. So that's going to be number 4 on our list as far as what you need to start your business and what I recommend for you guys to start off with. All right, so now that we covered what I feel are the most important things, which is the pressure washer, the generator, the water tank, and the vacuum, all the other extra stuff like the extractor, the steamer, all that is all extra stuff that you can add if you choose to. It's not stuff that you need mandatory to start out. Now these right here are just things I like to throw in. Personally, I suggest you guys use a foam cannon. Now everyone has their own opinion on whether they want to use it, if it's just for looks, if it really does anything. But personally, from having a foam cannon to not having one, it makes it a hell of a lot easier to wash the vehicle. You're not having to deal with water drying up on the car because there's no soap on it, or you're only using what's in the bucket. So these are great tools. I have 2 different ones depending on what your budget is. This right here is going to be more of the high end. So this one starts off at about $100. This includes a different orifice as well to change it out. So if you're running a less PSI pressure washer and you want that same thick shaving cream foam, that's where this comes into play, and you swap out orifices. But you can also purchase those individually if you'd like. You don't have to buy the full $100 kit just to get a different orifice. Now the difference between these two is going to be the quality behind it. This one will last you a lot longer, I'd say, from personal experience. These Max Shine ones are great right now. Actually, I swapped it out. So what I did was I took off the cap from this one, and I'm actually using a Max Shine tip on the MTM bottle. So that just goes to show they're both great. At the end of the day, it all just depends on how often you're going to use it and what it is you're looking to get out of the foam cannon. If you want a really wide fan, this is your winner. This is your go-to. If you want something that's going to have a smaller fan and be a bit more controlled, then this is also a great option. This one does allow you to go up and down and side to side, where I believe this one is strictly just going to be a side fan, and that's all you simply get with it. So you have the pressure washer, you have the generator, you have the water tank. Now, what good does that do without a pressure washer hose or a pressure washer gun? That's what we're going to jump into next. So if you go ahead and you purchase like your standard Home Depot like Ryobi pressure washer, or let alone one of these Kranzels or AR Blues, this is actually what it comes with. So this is the standard Kranzel hose. This is actually 25 feet, and this is their standard gun. Now this would be acceptable if you're just going to do something at the house, but personally this is not going to work for the mobile side and the business side. So we're actually just going to take this and we're going to scratch that. The main reason being is with this, you can't have as much flexibility and attachments in doing what it is you want as you can with something like this. So what I would suggest you guys jump into are these handheld guns. So a lot of people tend to start off with those big wands. They're great, but what are you going to do when you come into a tight space or that big wand just doesn't fit? That's where these MTM guns come into play. Personally, I love the blue alkaline series. I believe that's what these ones are. They have black and they have the blue one. The blue one's amazing. It comes standard with a swivel on it. That's going to be great when it comes to these hoses, because a lot of these hoses, like I'm going to show right here, we're going to swap them out and upgrade it to a standard 50-foot or 100-foot hose depending on your liking. That 25-foot is good, don't get me wrong, but a 50-foot is literally just enough for you to make your way around the entire half of the vehicle and get close to that passenger side door. Whereas that 25-foot, it's probably barely going to get you to the front bumper depending how you're parked and how you have it set up. So that 50-foot is definitely going to be a necessity. Now, one of the biggest key differences is, look here. We have what we call quick disconnects connections. So we have what we call here quick disconnects. These are going to be great to make your life a lot easier and a lot more efficient. Whereas if you look, these are all screw-ons, which is pretty boring. So what that means is you're going to have to sit here, screw this into your pressure washer, screw this into the wand, and then you can finally get to work. Why do that when you could simply take your coupling, pull it back, insert your gun, flip it up, and boom, now you're good to go. And usually if you have your setup done by H2O, you never have to touch this, because this is already going to be set up. It's going to be on a hose reel, or it's going to be ready for you to pull out by yourself, and you just simply attach your gun, or when you're done, pull it back, detach it, and boom, you're good to go. Remember I mentioned that swivel to you earlier. Normally if you went ahead and tossed this, you'd be turning this whole thing like a crocodile trying to choke something in water. Whereas if you have the swivel, it spins freely, it allows it to not tangle itself up, not have to deal with any of that hose kinking, and it makes it a lot easier on your wrist. Because I can tell you, your wrist will hurt over time having to constantly flip it, and flip it. This will just save you time, save your life, and make it a lot easier. These guns run about $100 and up, depending on which one you go with. This one is the more expensive version of it, but with the stainless steel quick disconnects and the swivel, it's going to be a lot harder for it to rust, and it's a lot more quality than some of these other competitors that are out here, like those chemical guys guns. No go. As I mentioned, we already covered what I would consider the main things. I'm not looking to prolong this video and start jumping into brushes and soaps and all that unnecessary stuff when I already have a video out there called the best beginner detailing supplies in my opinion. So if you guys are wondering what supplies are going to be great for your budget and starting out, go check that out. We'll have it linked below in the description down below, or just scroll through my channel, scroll down a little bit, and you'll find it right then and there. But what I do want to showcase for those who are looking to go a little bit extra and not just have the basic supplies as I mentioned, all you really need is you have your generator, you have your pressure washer with your water tank, along with your hose, your gun, and your vacuum. That's all you need to go out and start your basic details. All that other stuff, the steamer, the extractor, they're great. But we'll jump into that in another video when it comes to the best tools and accessories and machines to detailing, and that's where the tornador and all those extra things come in, and I'll talk to you guys about that in the next video. But to jump over here, this is what we call the holy glory of setups. When you have all your stuff on a reel, it is a game changer. So when I first started out, I didn't have that luxury, and I think a lot of you guys won't have it as well, because it's very expensive to jump into all this stuff straight off the bat without having some higher money behind you or someone putting things up when all you have is yourself. And I know a lot of you guys don't have a lot of money, but if I could at least show you what it looks like, I'd love to do that. So this right here is going to be our pressure washer reel. This is going to be the same hose that I showcased to you guys earlier, that 50-foot hose, but instead of having to wrap it up by hand, all you simply have to do is loosen it up, pull it out, and then when you're ready, you can just retract it, tighten it, and now you're good to go. It's not going to move. And remember, I told you about only attaching your gun. This is what I mean. So all you'd have to do is pull this out, attach your gun, turn on your pressure washer, and you're good to go. H2O already has you set up with your fittings and your lines when you get your setup done from them, so you never have to attach it and detach it. All you're worrying about is your gun or whatever it is you're throwing onto here, and you're good to go. So now right here we have our hose reel for our air, and we have our electric reel. Now, like I said, you're starting off, you're not going to have the luxury of doing this, but over time, trust me, you're slowly going to want to purchase one of these, because it becomes a hassle having to reel it up every time, especially when you're running with 50 feet or even 100 feet. Trust me, you're not going to want to sit there and deal with that. So these are the Husky reels. These are great. These are amazing to start off with. Eventually down the line, when you want something a bit better, you're going to jump into Cox reels. Now that's what this is right here, and Cox reels are what I have fully equipped in my van. So the Cox reel actually includes both of these in one. So instead of having two separate reels, you actually have your air and electric stacked on top of each other, and it makes it a lot more convenient and space saving. Now right here has to be probably one of the biggest things that I can say I used to hate on myself. If you ask anybody and they would have asked me about this, I said it was useless, it was pointless, there's no point in it when all you're doing is picking up the vacuum and pulling it out. But let me tell you, after having one, it is a game changer. It is just like the pressure washer. You just simply pull it out, reel it back up, and then boom, you're good to go. It's quick, it's efficient. 50 feet of hose compared to having that 15 to 25 feet that I showed you guys earlier. Sure, it's great, but you're still gonna have to move around your vacuum and deal with that. Where this allows it to be ran straight directly to your vacuum, you never have to move it. All you have to do is turn it on and off. Simply pull your hose out, get to work. When you're ready, you can lock it in, and boom, it's not gonna move, it's not gonna go anywhere. Loosen it up, reel it back up, and boom, you're good to go. So this one and the other one are actually what I have personally. Cox reels, like I mentioned, it's the best of the best. You cannot go wrong with it. This is going to be like the Louis Vuitton of detailing, and it's not just something that's for looks. It actually has a real purpose behind it. From personal experience, after a while, some of the Huskies or the other brands will give out with wear and tear, but these ones seem to stay the most durable, especially with the business wise. We're using it every day, day in and day out. We want something that's going to be able to keep up with us and not something that's going to slow us down and push us back. So with that being said, I feel like we just about covered everything in this video, from the pressure washer to the water tank to the generator, as well as some reels and how to get the upgraded hoses for that. So like I said, it's great, the hoses that come with them, those standard pressure washer hose and vacuum hoses, but we want you guys to be top class. I'm top class. You guys see how everything is set up. It's quick, it's efficient, and it looks nice. So I want to inform you guys of everything it is I can, if I have the opportunity to. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Just to cover the basis, all you really need is your pressure washer, your vacuum, your generator with your water tank, and that's it. You're good to go. But optional, and what I do suggest, is you guys get that extra pressure washer hose and vacuum hose. That's gonna help make it more easier for you guys to work, be a bit more efficient when it comes to having the space and the hose length to work around the car. And if you have the extra money to spend, or you're looking to save up, try to get yourself some reels. Those reels are amazing. It's a game changer. It's really going to do you guys justice. I never suggest anything to you guys that I haven't personally put my own money into and tried myself, because I don't find that fair. But at the end of the day, I truly appreciate you guys. I hope this video was able to help anybody out who was interested in starting a business and didn't know what to get, or didn't even know the differences in pressure washers. They didn't know there was electric, or they didn't know it was gas. And that's what I'm here to do, is to help inform you guys and help bring the communities together and get more people into the business. All right, sorry for the quick cut. I spoke to the boss man over here at H2O, and I was able to help get you guys a special for the month of December. So as we mentioned in today, you guys are going to need to get yourself a water tank. You're going to need to get yourself a setup, hopefully, as well as a pressure washer. So with that being said, during the month of December, if you come and mention this video, you will be able to take 15% off of any pressure washer, any water tank, and any detailing setup that you decide to get done with them. But not just that, you will also be able to apply that discount to any of your detailing supplies that you make with that same purchase. So if you come in here and you're taking 15% off of the pressure washer or the tank, make sure to stock up on some supplies as well, because that will also be rolled over into that. So I'm trying my best to help get everyone in the game. I want to give you guys a reason to get started. It's an amazing experience when you become your own boss, or let alone jump into something you never thought you'd be doing. So take advantage of that 15%. Come down to H2O. We have 2 locations, one in West Covina, one in La Puente. Make sure you guys come on down. I really appreciate you guys. Hope you guys enjoy the content. Drop any video ideas down below. Any concerns, any constructive criticism is all welcome. And as usual, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Topclasss Detail, and make sure you guys show some love to H2O Auto Detail Supply. They're the ones supplying the discount for you guys to come and purchase everything, as well as all the machines, all the setups, and all the products that you guys need to get your business started, as well as to keep yourself in business. So as usual, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I love you guys as always. Stay tuned for the next one, and I'll catch you then.